Welcome to Hypnotic Authenticity. My name is Chris. I'm a practical, grounded hypnotherapist. I'm based in Switzerland, and this is a space that I have created to foster a genuine sense of inner settling, a place to harmonize with yourself and bring about the improvements to your well-being that, I don't know, maybe perhaps you thought were literally impossible. So my episodes are an invitation to reconnect with all that is alive inside you, to examine the stories that you live your life by, and to maybe soften the edges of what it is that you believe yourself to be in order to create a bigger, broader, more expansive sense of your personal agency and your personal understanding. So I'm going to be talking about identity, about existence, about self-resonance, self-harmony, about authenticity. And that'll all be wrapped up with a sprinkling of hypnosis or guided meditation to help you settle, to help you align and return to yourself. So if you're ready, take a breath and let's begin. I've done a few videos now talking about the parts that kind of inhabit our mind. You know, this little population of people like the inhabitants of a city, but that are all in here. And so I thought you might be interested to find a way of discovering what it's like when they just kind of let you be for a moment. So you can discover what your true self is rather than being kind of pulled off on rubber threads by all of these parts. Okay, so if you've got a moment, what I would suggest, and I'm going to suggest that you do this with your eyes closed. So even though this kind of scenery behind me is beautiful, yeah, we'll do it as an eyes closed process. So therefore, by definition, please don't watch this video or listen to my words whilst driving or operating machinery. Okay, only do so when it's safe and appropriate to do so. But with that in mind, now, let's give you a very, very brief overview of the idea of parts, just in case you're not familiar with that, okay? At its simplest, and I think most people can relate to this, consider something that you want to do that somehow or other you're a little bit reluctant about, okay? Just as an example. So there's a part of you who has kind of permeated your will and says, I would like to do. But there's another part of you which kind of disagrees, okay? Imagine that they are two individuals, two people inside of your mind. Then you're kind of starting to get the idea of what parts are. So you have a playful part, you have an adventurous part, you have a cautious part, you have a perfectionist part, maybe. You have a part that is kind of creative, like a magician that knows no limits. You have other parts of you that are very protective, that remember all of the things that have gone on in the past. You have parts of you that are like little policemen running your policies, your rules, your procedures to make sure that you stay safe. There's a part of you that makes sure you eat. There's a part of you that makes sure that you get lots of sleep. There's a part of you that talks and talks and talks. There may be parts of you that are louder, parts of you that are quieter, and so on and so forth. So you end up with a whole multitude of people running around in your head. And if that sounds a little bit strange, okay, I sympathize with that. You know, we have this kind of clinical thought in our mind about schizophrenia and so on as being mentally problematic, let's say. But you know, even from a clinical perspective, we can identify even 2-year-olds establishing these parts inside of themselves. It seems to be part of the human psyche. And even Jung, when he was talking, he talks a great deal about these kind of imaginary parts that we identify inside of ourselves and in the archetypes that ally to that. Even there's a quote somewhere where he's basically saying, this is really uncomfortable because sometimes these parts do stuff that don't feel like me, right? These parts are in control and I don't like that, okay? So don't worry if this all sounds a little bit strange. It is strange, but it seems to be a part of being a member of the human race. So, having said all that now, let's get on with a little journey to allow you to just, and this is with permission of all these parts, to just kind of take a break from them for a moment, okay? And see what it feels like to be you. Yeah? Typically, we kind of identify with some of these parts more than others, but they're all yada, yada, yada. And it can be hard to tell who's the one who's observing. Yeah. So, so just taking a good deep breath, hold that breath, and let that breath go. Just want you to kind of ground yourself for a moment, okay? This is a moment for peace. This is a moment for you just to be you. You have nothing to prove. It's just a sense of curiosity. Another good deep breath. Hold that breath and let that breath go. Maybe you can already find a sense of stillness inside of you. If you want, take a third deep breath. Hold the breath and let that breath release. Just breathe normally. And if you want to now, you can just close your eyes. And all I'm going to invite you to do is to imagine that in front of you, as you maybe hear those church bells in the distance, imagine that there's a path in front of you. And you can make that path look however you want that path to look. Maybe you already have an image inside of your mind or a sense of that path. But if not, just make one up. Go into your imagination. Maybe it's a gravel path. Maybe it's the yellow brick road. Maybe it's a little windy channel. Maybe it's a path by the side of the river here and the gorge. However it feels like to you. And maybe you've got a little rucksack on your back with a bottle of water. You've got your telephone in your pocket, so you feel completely safe. You know exactly where you are. Everything's safe, and there are taxis very close by if you need to find a way home. Okay, so there's nothing to worry about. You're just going to take a journey, and so you set off on this journey, and maybe you can hear your footsteps as you walk, crunching down. It's gravel underneath, or tarmac, or tiles, or stones. You can feel the warmth of the sun, breeze, and you can walk on until you find a junction, okay? Little junction. And what I'd like you to do at the junction is ask your parts, okay? Ask all of these inhabitants in your mind if it's okay if they just jump out of your head and go and wait here at the junction, okay? There's a park bench, okay? There's a really comfortable bench, and they can all kind of bounce out of your head and sit on the park bench, okay? Give them a few packs of playing cards, chessboard, draftsboard, a few balls and bats, whatever they want, football. They can just enjoy themselves, okay? They are perfectly safe. Nothing's going to happen. You just want to go a little bit further down the road, down this little path, on your own, just for a moment. And would that be okay? Ask your parts and see what comes back. Yeah? So with your eyes closed, as you ask your parts, maybe they say, yeah, sure, that's absolutely great. Maybe they're happy. Maybe they have a sense of play about them, and they're just quite happy to bounce around on that chair and whack a ball against a bat and have a bit of fun. Some want to read at the back. So, whatever they want, okay? Maybe they're all fine. Maybe a couple of them say absolutely not. If some of them say absolutely not, have a chat with them. Ask them what it is that they're concerned about. because you're not going away forever, right? You're just going for a little walk down this path, and then you're going to turn around and come back. So they are perfectly safe, okay? You'll only be gone for a few minutes. Okay? Nothing wrong with it. So if they don't want that, this is a massively important thing. So have a conversation with them. Ask them, well, okay, what's going on? What? And see if you can placate them and see if they'll be happy. Okay, maybe they just want to trust that that's okay. If they flatly refuse, I wouldn't bother continuing with the video. Okay, just pause it and have a dialogue inside your mind and ask them what they want, what they're there for, what it is that they're concerned about. Take as long as you like so that you can have a chat with them and start to understand them so that they realize that you're not a threat, that you're not trying to get rid of them. You're just wanting a moment on your own. Yeah. Do that for as long as you like. So if they're all sat down by the side, if you've opened your eyes and you've been watching my video whilst I've been having that little yada, 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 then close your eyes back down, see them all there, see their clothes, see how they're sitting or standing, their posture, their facial expression, maybe hear their voices, hear them laughing, look in their eyes, see the smile in their eyes, let them enjoy themselves. Notice if there are any that are kind of quiet, need a little bit of support, a little bit of chat, whatever. Send them a bit of safety, security, love, kindness, whatever it takes, so that they're all kind of all right. And then set off down that path, okay? Free of all those parts. As you walk on down, again, you can hear the crunch of the ground underneath your foot, or maybe you're barefoot and you can feel the temperature of the ground. Feel the warmth, maybe the breeze here. Whatever you hear, the insects, birds. And as you walk down, and you begin to notice what you notice. Here's another question for you. Are you seeing through your eyes, or are you seeing yourself walking down the path? If you're seeing through your eyes, that's absolutely great. If you're seeing yourself walking down the path as if you're behind yourself, sort of thing, like you're watching yourself in a video, maybe that means that there's still a part that's come along for the ride. Yeah. But just ask whoever it is that's watching from behind, what's going on? And ask them if it's okay, if they can just kind of go back, spend time with the others. Because you just want a moment for yourself, and then you'll be back. So it's perfectly safe. And again, if that sounds a little bit strange to that part, pause the video, have a conversation with them, see how it goes. Because this is just an exercise so that you can feel like the you underneath those parts. So if it needs a bit of a chat, okay, make sure it feels completely safe, whatever that part is, whatever job it thinks it needs to do. That this is all right, and this is just an imaginary exercise. It's just for curiosity. There's no harm. Hopefully, with a bit of chat, it'll scamper off down, and then you can continue your journey down the path, looking through your own eyes, seeing the scenery that you see, noticing your feelings, noticing what you notice. And maybe there are some thoughts that come up. And if there are some thoughts that come up, check in. Is that you? Is that the self? Or is that another of those parts that's kind of hung on by a thread? And if it is, if it's a chattering part, then just have the same story again. Let it feel safe enough to go back to the bench and have a chat with all its friends. until any thoughts that are in your mind are truly yours. Sensations, your visual sensations, your sense of touch, smell, temperature, and pressure, peripheral vision, your internal environment, all the feelings, everything is you. And it's curiously quiet. Because this is you. This is you. And I'd just like you to enjoy that. What does it feel like? Just being you. And maybe you want to carry on walking and exploring and discovering, or maybe you're all right just taking a seat by the side of the path. Whatever feels right for you. And a person can do this regularly, checking in with their truth, with their self, on their own free terms, checking in with the self, with how you feel, without any noise, just being you, with nothing to prove, just being and observing. This is an incredibly beautiful, rich experience, and maybe it feels different because it's so rich. And however it feels for you is absolutely right, because there's nobody to justify this to. There's just a moment for you with you, in the peace and the calm of your deep experience inside. Perhaps you notice your breathing, perhaps you notice the stillness of your body. Perhaps you can notice the support of the chair or whatever it is that your physical body, whilst you're going through this process, is experiencing. Whilst inside your mind, inside your imagination, you're connecting parts of yourself that ordinarily you don't really touch to the same extent. Because this is a beautiful experience. And you can return to this moment whenever you choose to do so. So just take your time, and when you're ready, you just turn around, go back to the junction. Having learned what you've learned and felt what you've felt and noticed what you've noticed. Because everything's good, everything's safe, and everything's true. It's just you. And so you can feel your feet underneath as you make those steps back towards the junction. And perhaps you can have a sense of anticipation, of interest as to what's going on with all those parts. Maybe you can see them off in the distance at the junction. Maybe you can see them playing and dancing and singing. There's a few doing their own little thing. A few of them are acting out really a little bit crazy. Everybody's laughing and dancing, however it looks. And you can go back, say hi to them all, pick them all up. They can bounce back in your brain. Okay. So they know it's all safe, that you're completely trustworthy, and that they can do it again, and that everything is okay. And it's just a way of you kind of getting to know you underneath them all. And when you're absolutely sure that you've picked them all up, okay, because we don't want to leave any behind, scan the whole area, make sure, maybe give a good whistle between your teeth and call them all, make sure they're all there, they're all back inside your brain, yada, da, 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 and you can come back along the path and open your eyes. And if you're like me, that's an incredibly connecting experience with a part of myself, which is kind of deep. It's deep inside, and yet everywhere. It's ever present. It's kind of eternal. It's kind of like a spirit sense. But that's just my experience. Maybe your experience is different, and that's okay. Okay. I hope you might enjoy that. It's a way of detaching yourself from your parts and looking at what you really are. And maybe again, that's a metaphor. Maybe we're just releasing one layer of the onion and finding another story beneath. But it feels, if you're like me, feels like coming home. And I like to pay attention to those sensations. Okay? That's when I know I'm on track. That's when I know I can trust my intuition, when I can learn and not have to second guess myself. I hope that's interesting. Yeah, it's just an exercise, but you can do this. I mean, it's easy to do on your own, right? I guided you through it, but you don't really need me to do that. You can do it as you see fit. But it's another way of making friends with yourself. All right, take care. Write me some comments down below. And if you have requests or questions, ask. And I'm very, very happy to respond to that. Take care. Bye. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If it resonates with you, then follow my podcast. I would also personally be really grateful if you might wish to leave a quick rating. It genuinely helps others to discover the podcast. If you personally would like more guided meditations, you want some deeper insights, you'll find all my links in the description. If you prefer a more visual boost, then you might want to check out my YouTube channel called Authentic Life Hypnosis. And if you're looking to do some deeper work that goes beyond one-way audio, then obviously you're very welcome to reach out. Equally, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.